Shamash. How do? I think it is Friday, about the 16th of August, 2019. Good day. What? I'm coming to you with a torrent of information. Notice the threads picked out specially for this cast. It's going to be a big one. I'm happy to say emails up to date.com will be up to date. New publication uploaded to the .com. It is a language document, and I hope it will enable you to see crystal clear. All right, that's what I'm going to give you there. I want to focus on what we're doing here, but I'm going to give you a preface into big shout going out to a man who coined this, reminded to me by brother Matthew in Sheffield. We're going to say the totalitarian, totalitism, so totalism, totalitarianism. It's a bit like that word that come out in the 80s that I couldn't say, which was another fantastically long one. I can't recall it now. Anti-establishment antenitarianism or something. So totalitarianism, totalism, the totalitarian tiptoe. All right, so easy for me to say. Do you know what that is? Have you any idea? Totalitarian. All right, so totalitarian tiptoe is somebody, an idea, a preface that you would be creeping up upon an intended target, subject, what would we call it now, an objective. This objective is going to be done over hundreds of years, thousands of years. It's a continuum. So what I'm going to bring to you, brought to you by brother David of the Ike clan and fam, is that there is a yes, that one, tiptoe. There's a tiptoe going off. All right, do you see it? Are you aware of the totalitarian? All right, totalitarian. Peter Piper picked a pickled pepper. The pickled pepper Peter Piper picked. Totalitarian. There we go. These words, very, very integral, and it's disturbing me. Armageddon, 2Aquarius, 2025 will be the official date, zodiac, astro, theological wise. So we're on the cusp of the approach to the picture of water. All right. So man, you, I, we have a heart. This heart is most of us do. I hear what you're saying about the ones in office. Maybe they don't have a heart. They're not employed to use their heart. They're employed to contract the masses with the code in their billions by assumption, presumption and default. So this heart that the majority of man has, woe man of the womb, is responsible for an electromagnetic field that will reach out 3 foot roughly, which will be your aura. When you stand up, you have like a elliptical egg, well, not even, an elliptical egg going around you, 360 all the way, front, back, side to side. And that's given, I believe, by your heart. Your heart resonance is responsible for the ordinance of the other 12 systems within your body. Now this may seem abstract at first, but your health and your wealth and your cognitive dissonance, see the thumbnail here, you know, that's an interesting little bit there that I've taken from a screenshot on a video. And your bodies and your health and your wealth and your prosperity and your lineage, which is my family, our family, is on a downturn. Cancer is on the up. Small remedial diseases, cholera and the plague just round the corner. What? I know. In a worst case scenario, I'm not saying it is, but failings on our part, disconnection from the source, the cord has been cut. We have since over the last 1 month been heavily revising and dotting I's and crossing T's and making a lot of lines of inquiry, first-hand knowledge, direct to sources about what we should be doing. So with regards to our souls, our consciousness, our health, our liability, and the language and the crystal, around it, the grammatron, the tetragrammaton, not tron, ton, and I'd like to go through some codes now, code masters, self-initiates. You're going to hear me talk about sovereignty. I'm allowed to review everything and anything at any point, and we're allowed to update and bring you up to the minute research and findings. This video is actually an up to the minute presentation of research and findings. So if you haven't already got yourself comfy, a brew, a pen, and what else do we want? A notepad. Then get ready, go and get one, and I'm going to start reading a lot of words, all right, thousands, in order. There is a reason for this. I need to get this out. You need to know where we're coming from. I cannot reference where this verbiage and documentation has come from. You will get an idea if you are a scribe of this channel and you have been for a while. Then you'll know about the doctrines and the perspective church, the doctrine, the state, the incorporation, the Bible, and the way that the strawman code, King James, etc., Christian type remedy before yourselves, your consciousness to consider. So I'm not going to mean to insult anybody here. There's nothing but love and respect through and through. Shamash for that. So just hear me out, and then I want you to sit back and cognize and digest, and then we'll come back to it. I have recently posted the 3 certainties of trust on the .com and Facebook, which are in a biblical trust nature, okay, going away from England and Wales and the United Kingdom. As I mentioned before, there is another realm of trust that isn't legal, that isn't United Kingdom constructed, legislative, legal, what would we call it, parabol, Scheisen. So we've got the other one, which is the original covenants, as we've explained what covenants are, and faiths. All right, we've got the churches all around, and they have disguised the heart chakra and the meaning of the hermeticism, the real prayer, whom you are, what you are, when you are, and why you are. There is evidences beyond control of the states now out there that are suggesting that the Nephilim, Anunnaki, Nibiru, ancient gods of many, including the Enki, Enlil, Lilith, the Dead Sea Scrolls, Shamash, Göbekli Tepe, other side Turkey, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the King's List, Billy Carson. What else have we got there? There's more yet. The Babylon stuff. The list is long. So we're finding out in this time of non-Catholic and Christian bias, where we have an open source of information flooding like in every portal, we can choose. We know the pyramids were not built using rocks and sands. We can say that they was built with the Vimara type ancient alien type ancient astronaut. So those of you that aren't on the same tip, I am understanding of that, and I am sympathetic. We in this channel and the scribes have our theories, and we can somewhat, most of the time, 99% source and reference and citate all of the articulation of where we're at now. And this video is a little cementing. You're going to get blown away here. So if you're not sat comfortably and you're on the replay, I'd pause it and get yourself comfortable, get yourself some beverages. Treat it like a feature-length entertainment presentation by your brother David to the family of Tube and the family of the realm across all known continents, whether they're discovered or undiscovered. The totalitarian tiptoe, the totalitarian tiptoe, the one world order is not such a bad idea. We had an order of one before, and we seem to get on quite well. There was no slavery and usurping and money changers and demonic, satanic worshipping and sacrificing of man. So we're at a new position, all right, get ready. And you're going to hear some words and some positions of which are new, brand new, up to date. Okay, nothing set in stone. This is live democracy in action. This is research, development, discovery, the universe, synchronicity, common sense, logic, common law, Bible, codes. You get where we're coming from. So, without further ado, I'm so excited about this. This is what we call heavyweight. Okay, I'm very proud to present it. It resides on the .com. Some of it has been partially posted into Facebook, and then the rest is coming out through dribs and drabs as and when through this channel. So it's not my work. I'm not stealing it. Remember, equity brought to you in what book, chapter, verse of the Bible. It's not to be stealing. It's not ours. I didn't make this up. King James, nothing to do with me. The Masonic organisation that's prevalent around, nothing to do with me. I'm just the brother David, self-governing private man who I thought was sovereign in light of things. Perhaps it's just the Most High and JC, the Spirit, and so forth that would ultimately be sovereign. I haven't made a mistake. I'm on a journey, and I'm being honest, and I'm correcting the pathway that we're going to forge for you, that will be hopefully true, just, right, proper, honourable, concise, and very, very minimal effort, done via paperwork in the private, you visiting officers in offices. If not done as authorised and required, then we would look for further remedy down at the higher courts and chancery division or so forth for arguments within claims for equitable areas. All right. Are you a Christian or a pagan legal fiction? Question mark. I keep coming across articles discussing the theory that the capitalization of names is a conspiracy that takes away all of our God-given unalienable rights. The sad thing is that these articles by conspiracy theorists, sovereignists, and patriots, freemen, lawful rebellion, etc., are completely missing the real truth, which is hidden in plain sight and in front of everybody's eyes. There is only one authorised Bible, and it is the authorised 1611 King James Holy Bible. This is the coded version of the Bible that we have brought to you, and since, not we as in we found it, we have helped bring to you. Don't hold me on every word. I am at ease, and I'm just bringing you information. I don't claim anything. We're sharing, and there's an element of love here. No ego, no claim of anything. So please forgive me if I make a slip of the tongue. So as we've brought to you via our research and discovery and the casts and the hangouts, the 11 Bible there by King James, no matter what we think of, is a coded book for information on a lawful level. It's a law book. And in it, God tells us that some people will not have the ears to hear, or indeed the tiny little mince pies to see. Take note that the word law and lawyer come from the root word lie. You have to give Satan, the devil, credit for his mischievous deceptions, since the truth is out in the open and nobody, unfortunately for man, can see it clearly, effectively, concisely. Can it be that the devil's advocates, also known as lawyers, have conveniently used plausible deniability, that really annoys me, that's why we're here, that's why we've built the .com, to hide the truth from men, so that they could plunder for their own selfish, greedy, corrupt, unconscionable benefit, because they deny God and they deny the Lord and Saviour, Jesus the Christ, in favour of their God, Satan, aka the devil, question mark. These grammarians, tetragrammaton, grammarians, all right, connection there please, use words to cast spells and to deceive people, as well you know. It is called the curse of law, okay? See the old covenant in the authorised 1611 King James Holy Bible, exclamation mark. Or did we simply deceive ourselves? There are two things missing from articles that discuss the theory that people have been deceived into thinking that they are a legal fiction, also known as the name or the title Mr., Mrs., Ms., or the straw man, or the legal fiction, the entity, the estate, with many names. We know what it is, the document itself. The real cause of the problem, the real cause of the problem, and two, the remedy. One, the real cause of the problem. In order to understand the effect of anything We need to understand the cause, Hermetic principles, cause and effect. Cha-ching, getting it? Go on. We need to go back to square one and to see the foundation, the root cause of the problem. Absolutely everything is based on your belief or your faith. You can be sucked into all kinds of convoluted and hypocritical beliefs that cannot possibly be proved because there is no proof for them. They're just simply a belief. We know this. We've put that out to you before. You know what's going on there. And one such belief is a theory, not proof, of evolution, in which we are supposed to go through, throughout logic and reason and accept the Big Bang theory that nothing exploded and created something, leading to the primordial soup that evolved into life from a rock, and eventually man evolved from a monkey. Now, we have brought to you that the actual publication, if you go to archive.org and you search for Darwin's Theory of Evolution, the title for the book is not called Darwin's Theory of Evolution. It has more above it that's been edited and put in there. So those of you that are more in-depth and acute, we've brought you this and we found that out. So it's just, hear me out. Monkey. Even the rocks and monkeys are laughing at that theory. On the other hand, there are plenty of empirical evidence supporting the existence of one creator, God, the Lord, the Most High, God, our Father, and Jesus Christ, his only begotten Son, the Son of Man, and our Lord and Saviour. Everything in man's life is based on faith, and you are either a believer in God and Jesus Christ, Christian, or an unbeliever, atheist. Yes, remember that everything is made of light. We're in a light universe. Everything is made of light. Even dark matter is made of light. And we live in a universal realm which is made of atoms, and atoms are mostly empty. So we have a very deceptive holographic type universe here where, benefit of the doubt and argumentation, lack thereof, belief and faith. For the sake of argument, give me the benefit of your doubt and consider the following proof based on thousands of years of knowledge which was witnessed, written down and passed down by man. Consider that there could just be one God that created everything, and let us explore God's word and God's will as recorded in the 1611 authorized King James Holy Bible. Notice that this Holy Bible is authorized by the secular authorities. Perhaps because God ordained it to be so. Perhaps this is also why the Holy Bible can be found in every court and every parliament of man's laws. Note also that man's charters, the Constitution, recognise the supremacy of God. So you have your free will to choose between God's law, recognised by secular society as the authorised 1611 King James Holy Bible, or you can opt out for man's law, where you as a civilian person under civil law are responsible and liable for knowing and obeying all 4 million of man's laws and counting. Earlier I did say that in order to understand a problem you need to go back to the beginning, didn't I? There is a story about the Garden of Eden 2 times in the first chapter of the Holy Bible, in Genesis. In the beginning, God and his Son created everything, and then they created a man, which we know as Adam. God took one of Adam's ribs and created woman, so that Adam would not be bored. In the Garden of Eden, God gave them everything that they needed, because it was like a park with free parking. God walked and talked with Adam and gave him knowledge and the rules that he could have and do anything and take anything except for taking from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This one tree was symbolic of a trust between God and Adam. We believe, it appears there, okay? And as long as they did not take of this one tree, they would be the beneficiaries of God's trust. Okay? So fair enough so far? Are you with me? Everything seemed to be hunky-dory in the Garden of Eden until one day when Eve was tricked by Satan, the devil, believing that a snake could talk. She accepted Satan's one-sided offer, claiming that they could too be like gods by taking from the tree of good and evil. Note that Eve did not ask herself how the created could be like the creator, and she did not question the devil's motives either. Nor did she consult with Adam or God. Apparently everything was not enough for Eve, and the grass must have seemed greener on the other side, and she was able to convince Adam to break God's trust too. This led to the first couple's argument, and Eve blamed the snake, while Adam blamed God for giving Eve to him. Slopey shoulders. They were both wrong, and they both broke God's trust, and God was so displeased that he drove them out of the garden. This, we would say, resided in Iraq. Okay, we brought the lands and we would argue geographically where this all was depicted to have happened: in the Euphrates, in the Ganges, and the Middle East, Mesopotamia, Judea, Babylon, Turkey, Greece, Kemet, Egypt. Yeah, but initially you've got Iraq, and where Saddam was. They no longer enjoyed the privilege of free parking. They were no longer beneficiaries of God's trust, and now they had to work and toil for everything. Since that time, Adam's sin has been passed down on the father's patronymic side through the surname, like a surtax or surcharge or an add-on. Perhaps this explains the name of the first man, since he was damned by God and was known as Adam. A-D-A-M, damn. Like war, D-E-N, warden. Adam, Adam. So, damned, alright? He was known as Adam. Notice also that Adam and Eve had only one name, alright? David, John, Steve, Andy, Greg. Even Jesus Christ. Oh, thank you to Greg for the title of today's show. That was done last night by me and G-Star. Today's casting title was brought to you by the Domain and the Family's technical brother there. We did have a chuckle at 1 o'clock this morning, and Anna did come down and say, David, shush, I'm trying to sleep. Even Jesus Christ had the one name of Emmanuel, alright? Yeah, what? Forgot about that, didn't we? Before he came down to earth in the persona, alright? In propria persona, in one's proper person. So he came down to earth in the persona of Jesus. Adam and Eve could have simply said to God that they had made a mistake and that it would not happen again, and they could have asked the Father for forgiveness. Okay? Cogs. A bit like Hiroshima. America could have said, you know what, check out the water over there. Watch out the window. What we're going to do is we're going to drop our new weapon. You know, this has come from Jack Fresco, not me. R.I.P., the great legend that is the Venus Project creator, Jack Fresco. And they could have dropped that bomb in the sea and says, look at that, see that nuclear atomic weapon we've just made. If you don't stop messing around and do what we say as terrorists of the world, we're going to drop that next bomb on your land. But they didn't. They dropped it on the land. Yeah, think about that. So, sorry, splintering off. He came down in the persona of Jesus. Adam and Eve could have simply said to God that they had made a mistake and that it would not happen again, and that they could have asked the Father for forgiveness. And Adam should have known better, for he was instructed by God. Instead, it appears that their egos got in the way, and they and all of mankind have been paying the price for their willful sin ever since. And in the Old Testament, God's old will, the old contract with man, the wages for sin is death, all right? The wages for sin is death. Look at the country now. Look at it, sanctionings, yes? Another little detail, the devil is in the details. Another little detail is to know that Satan and the devil had been kicked out of God's kingdom because Satan and 1/3 of God's angels rebelled against God. Because they allegedly, I don't know, I wasn't there, because they wanted to be in charge. God sent Satan, the devil, all right, and then here the names there, changing, all right, positions, titles, places. God sent Satan, the devil, down to earth so that he could test out the will of the people to see if they would pass the test and keep God's trust. We know that Adam lived for 900 130 years. We know it is scribed. All right. When I say we know, you know that I know that I'm not fond of asking. You know, all right. But because he failed the test by breaking God's trust, the penalty for sin was death. But Satan, the devil, is still around for now, with God's consent, on this land, ruling it. All right. Offered Jesus the 9 kingdoms. So, crumbs. Where the world is under the power of Satan, we are still being tested, and almost everyone is still failing God's test of trust because we continue to go against God's will. And that's because most of us still want to be our own little gods, sovereign gods. You know, I'm having alarm bells here now, so you hear what I'm saying. I'm obliged to bring to you, and we think we're our own little sovereign gods, or put in there God's sovereignty. The Queen has sovereignty. The Parliament allegedly have sovereignty, and man has appointed the Queen by the coronation with the things and the stones and the whatevers, and if we haven't got it, we can't award it. So that's where I got sovereignty from. If the monarchy and QE2 want to get that, and the Parliament want to claim that, then we can claim that. If we can't claim that, then we don't have it to give. Then that means, ergo, Parliament, the Queen, falls down. We have to then backtrack, revert. Sorry about sovereignty. I actually think we might not be sovereign, Creator. Done. Retracted. Moving on. It looks like, you know, so it's as easy as that, you know, no embarrassment, no ego. Turns out that we're being still tested, and everyone is still failing God's test of trust. We want to continue to go against trust because we want to continue to go against God's will. Because most of us still do not. Because most of us still want to be our own gods. The real problem for mankind and the Old Testament curse of the law is nothing to do with capitalization of the name, because it appears that no matter how your name is spelled, nothing changes. The real problem is that most of mankind continues to use their free will to choose between good and evil, Christ or Satan, believer or pagan. And most people still make the wrong choice. We cannot be God or like God, and we cannot be our own gods, unlike the claims of the New Age religions invented by men. The first 2/3 of the Holy Bible are called the Old Testament because it was God's old will, or his old contract with man, the old way. All right, it was also known as. The recurring theme of the Old Testament was that man was never supposed to rule over another man. No man has the right to. We are all created equal in the eyes of the law. That's this bit tying up here, okay? But mankind rejected God and insisted on being ruled by man. Kings, kingship, all right? That's where the kingship comes from. And we have always paid the price for this egotistic bad choice. The Old Testament talks about prophecies and a saviour that God would send for mankind. And when he arrived at the end of the Old Testament, the Jews in charge, Pharisees, falsely accused God's Son, Jesus the Christ, and killed him. In the Holy Bible, it is written, John chapter verse 3:16, King James Version, Standard, 16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, listen to the code, but have everlasting life. God sent his only begotten Son, Jesus the Christ, as an acceptable one-time blood sacrifice for the sins of all men that believe in him, Christians generally. And this is the beginning of the New Testament, God's new will. Here we go, his new contract with man, okay? The real cause of man's problem is that almost everyone unwittingly and ignorantly, lacking knowledge, deceived, non-disclosure, deceptive, public statutory constructed, I hear you, chooses to try to be their own God in the same way that Adam and Eve erred in the Garden of Eden. Satan, the devil, tricked Eve into accepting that a snake could talk, and into accepting that by eating from the tree, God's trust of good and evil, that Adam and Eve could just be like God. Well, that appears to have been the wrong choice, doesn't it, scribes and self-initiates? How could the created be just like the creator? Listen to this bit now. Listen. Think of debtor, creditor, A for V, transfer via endorsement. Because man rejected God, he ordained man's government to be their gods until he ordains it time to have his son take over as our king. See Revelations. The system and structure of man's government is ordained by God, whether you like it or not. It is. And we are still being tested by God, using man's government to see if we are worthy of God. The offer that we are given is to choose between being a Christian, defined by the dictionary as one who professes belief in Jesus as Christ or follows the religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus. That was from a heritage dictionary. It says American Heritage Dictionary, so you need to go and transfer the word Christian over from Merriam's, Webster's, Black's, everything that we've got. I'm not going to go through all of the dictionaries. You know the ones. There's most of them on the .com and links in the forums for that under etymology. And check out Christian under different publications, languages and areas and laws, parameters. Or being an unbeliever, heathen, ethnic pagan. Christ only came to remind us of our Father's good will and to do his will. Jesus repeatedly said, "It is written," because Jesus was repeating his Father's words and his will. Remember the false offer that Satan the devil gave to Eve. We are still being tested and given a false offer by our temporary God, United Kingdom G, government, USG, government here, okay? Trump and the co and Boris governments. And it begins at our birth, or at the point man is born. Perhaps it is because of the simplicity of the offer that most people do not have the ears to hear or the eyes to see the false offer and the deception it entails. What is this false offer then, David? I hear you cry. Okay then, scribes. It is this. Will you respect God's will and trust God, or do you want to try and be your own little God? In this temporary secular world, the way you answer this question depends on the name you choose to carry and identify with whilst on this earth. Specifically, you either choose to carry a Christian name or an anti-Christian pagan name. A secular world system is set up for war, for your soul, through heraldry, arms, coat of arms, told you, and the false accusation that most people carry over top of their Christian name, a blasphemous, heathen, pagan, secular surname. I feel like you're getting into a bit of character here. There's more going in, and I'm not even started, all right? The characters in the Holy Bible had only one name, even after God or Jesus gave them a new name. Jesus the Christ, meaning the Anointed One, was the earthly name of God's only begotten Son, Emmanuel. What's in a name? One name is worldly, the anti-Christian secular surname, and the other name is spiritual, the Christian name, aka first or for. In the Holy Bible, it is written, Matthew 6:24, King James Version 24, no man can serve two masters, all right? For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon, M-A-M-M-O-N, all right? Mammon. If you choose to carry the secular, worldly, anti-Christian name, you are part of the secular world of commerce, mammon, or money, which has nothing to do with God. The Holy Bible says, Galatians 6:3, KJV, for if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceive himself. In English language, prefix, sur, S-U-R, means to put something on top. Examples, surcharge, surtax, surcoat. Didn't Pontius Pilate, the Roman prefect of Judea, awarded the crucifixion of Jesus, put a false name title over the top of Jesus on the cross? Do you think that false name title could have been placed over top of your Christian name, creating an unholy alliance between the Christian name and a pagan name? Is your name Christian or pagan? Are you still confused? 1 minute. Are you still confused? Are you with me? To quote Chuck Misler. My man Chuck, have you met Chuck Misley yet? If you haven't, get marking that down because you're going to need somebody. You're going to need him. We all have only one real name. No, stop. We all have one calling. I am called David. All right, my calling is. So where it says here name, that's been re-edited from 2012. This is notes taken from 2013-ish. So we're going to redo that and say, when I say name, bear in mind, is your name a Christian or pagan? So therefore you do have a name in the legal realm, all right, and you have a calling in the lawful realm. So just know that, we know that. I've just got to edit this, but is your name, so when we say name, we mean legal. When we say, what are you called? I am called David. That's how you answer in law. When you say an answer to a name and you say you have a Christian calling, then, yeah, so I am called David. That is my Christian given name, all right? That is my given forename, name, forename, calling, all right? So we go name to calling. That's 101, basic. Start there. What is your name? What do you mean, what's my name? Are you some kind of lawyer? What are you trying to entrap me here? That's a leading question. You are presuming that I have a name. A name is something that is, and go and check out the definition. It begins with a capital letter. It is a noun, an object, a thing. So, hello there. What is, what thing are you called, right? That's an insult to man. You know, what may I address you as? Okay, there we go. What is your name? Are you the driver? Is this your vehicle? What? You see what they're doing here? Mind games. So, bear with me. I know, and I'm doing this on purpose so then you get to know and see. And you get the... So, you shouldn't be confused and about the secular, pagan, worldly name. We all have only one calling, and then you have the name, the Christian name. Sometimes also referred to as a first name or forename. Do you use a Christian name, or are you going by something else? What was Shakespeare, the pen name for Sir Francis Bacon, trying to tell us in Romeo and Juliet, in the phrase from Romeo and Juliet? "'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, through not a montage." What's a montage? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor in any other part belonging to man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call by a rose, by any other name, would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo doth thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself. In the Jewish tradition, it is believed that every child was given a name by God upon their conception. When God breathed life into us, we were also given a name by our parents after our birth, being born. The Holy Bible writes, Revelation 2:17 KJV, "He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that received it." With regard to the secular pagan world side, the word family comes from the Roman Latin word familia, F-A-M-I-L-I-A, yes fam, which means slave. Okay? Yes, fam. We are not given a family slave name as it is already in existence prior to our being, and it does not belong to us. The family name or surname is a secular pagan worldly name added to the Christian name. Do you get that? The Christian name and a blasphemous secular pagan worldly surname is added or put on top, as in the cross, Christian name. Isn't this the same blasphemy committed by Pontius Pilate and, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews? Before we look at the secular world of mechanics of how all this was done to you, to man, consider the idea, that's the totalitarian tiptoe we're on about. Consider the idea that we all voluntarily took and consented to false offer from the government, ordained by God, to play the part of God for the time being. we ourselves continue to consent to the fraud and deception. We have nobody and nothing to blame but ourselves, apparently. No, it's not my words, it's just, hear me out. Because we want to be our own gods. To blame is to be lame. To be poor is not pure, all right? Therefore, do not blame the government. Do not have hatred for them. As it is not the job of the government to teach man morals. That's my job, that's your job, that's all of us, all right? Conscience, faith, or right from wrong. Do not blame your parents either, for they did not know that they too had taken the wrong path. Fraud is not fraud when you volunteer and consent to it. Fraud is not fraud until you discover the fraud. Therefore, the cause of the problem is not that the government is made a fraudulent offer, you know, oh, it's fraud and so forth, yeah, being the offer to allow you to think that you can be your own God. The cause of the problem is that you and I, ignorantly, because we previously lacked the gnosis, the cognizance, the education, volunteered and consented to the fraudulent offer at the age of 18 thereabouts, and we continued accepting multiple fraudulent offers based on the initial fraudulent offer, a false pagan name, which we think we can be our own gods. See the explanation below. The logical question that follows is, wow, 18 scribes, hello there, we'll say hello afterwards. Let's take a little intermission. I need some more juice. Let's check on Anna Banana, and please, on the replay, give me a moment, and I will be back with you. So at this point, you know what to do. I'll press music now, put the screen on, we'll get there later. I'm sure it's worth the wait. Here we go. Check that out. Hungarian. Yanka's copy. Biblia is what it's called, Biblia. But it's complete with the 1, 2 and 3, 666, mark of the beast. Nice inscriptions to go with it. Oh no, I'm going to be in trouble. There she was. So what we're doing right now, self-initiates, encodification, retranslating the old testifications. The logical question that follows is, thank you for waiting, what was the initial fraudulent offer that allowed us to falsely play the role of being our own God? To illustrate the answer, I will use, this is where this document is from, so we'll carry on because it's still work underway, but it's good enough to give you right now. I will use the province of Canada, but it appears that the entire world operates on the same system and structure. Yes, it does. Uniform commercial codes, maritime admiralty, etc., etc. Civil systems, criminal systems. What happens with a newborn child is no different than what happens to a newly manufactured automobile, as we've said before. Also, what happens with a newborn child is no different than what happens whenever a financial lien is created through Personal Property Security Act, PPSA, which is a Canadian version, all right, of the American Uniform Commercial Code, or UCC. It has nothing to do with capitalisation, as that is only a trick to throw people off from the truth. Red herring. Little bit of an indication. It's a system, it's a code within there. We know about Romilly, Gloucester, Oxford styles, Chicago styles, the hieroglyphs, Egyptians, uniform, picture form, cuneiform, all of that. So the fraud is only a trick to use to throw people off from the truth. The fraud is completely legal under man's curse of the law, Old Testament, although not lawful under God's law, New Testament. This is all done under the law of Admiralty, which we know as the boat people law of the sea. Liverpool, that's where the General Births Registrar is. Liverpool. Oxford is down at the Bull Water. Oxford, that's your sea people talk there. And then you've got DVLA, Agents of the Driver Vehicle Licensing, at the Sea of Swans, the Swansea, Water Control. Yeah. It has nothing to do with capitalisation. The fraud is completely under the law there. This is all done under the Admiralty of the Sea, where pirating is allowed and where abandoned property can be claimed by pirates. Sad but true. Somali pirates, when they got hold of them back in the day, you know, a few years ago, it turned out who was funding them. Do you remember who was funding them? Shh, that was embarrassing, wasn't it? In Admiralty law, the government is the captain, god of the ship, all right? And what it says goes. You are only a lowest level military soldier. You are only considered a lowest level military soldier on the ship with no rights other than what the captain, god, gives you under the Admiralty law. The government is your god, man's god. To further confuse you, the secular system also operated criminal law, civil law, and the law of equity, in addition to Admiralty law. When a child is born, the first thing that happens is the doctor or nurse must complete a form, like a financial statement form at the hospital, and submit the original to the government office of the Registrar General. This is the first step in registering the child or the issue of the product of the legal marriage between two legal slaves as property belonging to the state. That is, the newly created secular pagan name or title to the name of the child becomes the property of the state. Next, the parents are told that within 30 days after the birth or being born of the child, this is legal, so it's birth, and under the threat of a 50,000, thereabouts, dollars, pounds penalty, they must complete a long form statement of live birth known as SLOB, Sierra Oscar Lima Bravo, like the other form that was filled in the change of financing. I think it was a PPSA, I said in the beginning, Form 1. In Admiralty law, this becomes the statement of abandonment of the child by the parents, giving the state the opportunity to adopt the abandoned child, and the state becomes the legal parent of the child under a doctrine called the parens patriae. Parens patriae. The parents completed their obligation when they stated the God-given Christian name, and it was gifted to the state on the long form, Form 2, Statement of Live Birth, and the Division Registrar said, this is going out to a sister called Nita on Facebook that said the name that we gifted. This is in correlation. I'm going to post this in the SPOspro.com Facebook fam after for them to watch back on if they're not here now. And Sister Nita, this will answer your question that I answered the other day, but I didn't answer it in its entirety because I wanted to bring you this for you to catch up on and get all the things pop into place at the same time. I am so the God-given Christian name, and it was gifted to the state on the long form, Form 2, Statement of Live Birth, and the Division Registrar. They say I am satisfied as to the correctness and sufficiency of this statement and registrar the birth by signing this statement. In order to protect the innocent child, the Division Registrar of the Office of the Registrar General divided and separated the real flesh and blood Christian spiritual child of God who cannot be harmed in and by law from the newly created corporate, dead entity legal fiction via the short form, wallet-sized Form 3 birth certificate. And they created an ambiguous name that is blasphemous to the Christian name and treason against God. That is why the real name of the Christian child is changed to protect the Christian child of God from the newly created, blasphemous and bastardized, all caps, legal fiction name. The puppet that you move in the secular pagan legal world that we've all got confused with. The corporate legal fiction has an ambiguous name being a surname separated by a banking set-off, comma, followed by the God-given Christian name, example, Smith, capitals, John, lowercase, or Smith, capitals, comma, John, lowercase. This false joinder of the Christian name with the secular pagan surname is an unholy alliance and a blasphemy in law against the Christian name and against thy God, the Creator. The reality is that this short form, wallet-sized Form 3 birth certificate is in reality a death certificate, as it creates a dead entity legal fiction puppet, person, persona, behind the mask, or corporation. Are you the birth certificate or driver's license or passport or health card? No, you are not. Or any other piece of government identification or licensing. Remember Galatians 6:3, you know where, and ask yourself, if you believe that you are a piece of plastic or a piece of paper, the first sentence in your passport tells you that it is not your property because the passport belongs to the government. You are simply the holder. You are the holder of that property. Holder in due course, I am a holder of this certificate. So the government even tells you not to use the short Form 2 wallet-sized birth certificate, nor is the social insurance number SIN card for identification. Did you not listen? Did you not have ears to hear or eyes to see? Whose fault is that? Lastly, the extract, short form, wallet size, Form 2 birth certificate and the notice of birth registration is created by the government and sent to the parents, giving them notice that the child's name, title belongs to the state now, government. However, this extract, birth certificate, is indeed a bastardization and blasphemy because an ambiguous and false anti-Christian, secular, pagan, capitalized surname is placed first. That's your reversion, yeah? Followed by a separating comma, which is a set-off in banking terms, creating an unholy alliance or joinder between your Christian or the Christian name, calling, okay, and a Christian, anti-Christian, secular, pagan name. The Holy Bible speaks of the bond of the free and the bond of the slave, and the birth certificate is a bond of the slave. It comes complete with the bond surety security number leading to the SIN number of Her Majesty's dummy corporation. Thankfully, by the ordinance and the mercy of God, both the long form 2 statement of live birth, SOLB, and the extract short form wallet size Form 3 birth certificate, BC, are full of errors. These are writ errors, and neither one is published in any official archive except splspro.com. That's what we're trying to build here. The plausible deniability shall be eradicated once and for all. This is because the state government and their ignorant agents could claim that plausible deniability due to clerical errors and omissions on both the statement of live birth and the birth certificate. Again, fraud is not fraud until you discover it. It's not a crime until you get caught, yeah? It is a responsibility of each one of us. I didn't say that, I'm saying that's how it appears to be, all right? It is the responsibility of each one of us to inform the government of the errors on the SOLB and the BC. And it is the duty and responsibility of the Office of the Registrar General under the Vital Statistics Act to correct all of the errors, to correct any errors and assumptions and presumptions which were made in law. The remedy or solution to the problem is that once we discover the errors on the SOLB and the BC and bring it to the attention of the Registrar General and others, we can demand the errors be corrected, as it is the duty of the Registrar General under the Vital Statistics Act. Who'd have thought that? Who'd have imagined, eh? Allegedly, I'm not saying definitely, it appears to be. This may or may not involve a court proceeding, all right? Depends. This is the true journey of the prodigal son. Once we discover the unholy alliance of the secular, pagan, anti-Christian name and the false joinder to the Christian name, we can have the errors corrected. We can come back to God. Once this is done, the Holy Bible tells us, Revelation 2:17, KJV, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receive it. Oh, note that the long form 2 statement of live birth, SOB, son of a birth, is also like a legal statement of claim, and that it contains a field for the accuser, certificate of informant, just as if it is a criminal charge, only that the SOLB has not been completed and it is not published off field anywhere. The SOLB is like an unfiled and uncompleted criminal charge containing false allegations, that being the heathen, secular, pagan, anti-Christian surname, as well as other errors and omissions. To review and to be clear, every child is given only one name, and that is the God-given Christian calling name. All right, you know where we are, aka forename or first name, given name, calling. It is gravely important. When we say Christian, you have a calling. Christian called, effectively first name. All right, I'm trying to break it down and be simple. But under God, your first name would be classed as Christian David. Finished. That is it. Or it is a forename, or it is a first name, or a God-given Christian name. But that is ultimately your calling. 2019, up to date. You call and do and speak how you want. This is no legal advice here. This is just a friendly chat between fam. It is gravely important to know, all right, gravely important to know that the God-given Christian name is distinguished and separate from any other name, which is what we would call unalienable. Why is this so important? It is important because we do not want to fall into the same false offer, entrapment that Adam and Eve accepted by trying to become their own gods when they took from the tree of good and evil that God warned them they were not to touch, and thereby breaking God's trust. Did you know that you were carrying the Antichrist in the surname in what you ignorantly presumed and assumed to be your name? Incidentally, the word assume means to deceive. This was exactly the same false charge put over the head of Jesus the Christ when the Romans nailed him to the cross. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, our Lord Saviour Jesus, was falsely accused and executed under Roman civil law. The state must look after the estate of a man who dies without a will. That is called intestate. Okay? Did you know that the estate of Jesus Christ is being administered under civil law by the government worldwide to this day? No, you didn't. I know you didn't. The Dictionary of Law, Thompson Carswell, 3rd edition, this will be Canadian probably, on pages 929 and 930, defines person as the only legal person known to our law is the corporation, the body corporate. We have told you similar to that. Check out many and various in your relevant landmass and legal ones and other such ones. The Holy Bible states that God is not a respecter of persons. We've told you this time and time again. The word corporation comes from corpse, which is a dead body. We know that a corporation is a dead entity, fiction of law, and a fiction is a lie. Okay, let me just put a mark on here. How much do we have? Wow. I've got to read it all, but there is a lot. And then we're going to take a break and there'll be a part 2. Then I've got another extra KJV, Christian, profits, property, government, possession, employment, employ, engage. I told you about engage to make it and what that is. So there's a lot more to come. I'm just conscious of time. I've got jobs to do. We're travelling tomorrow and we are on point. This needs to be said though. Yeah, it's going to have to be split up. I have maybe 100 pages literally going down on the screen, and we've been going at least a good hour now. Alright, we've been going for an hour. Yeah, look at that, 59:34, couldn't have been more bang on. have you ignorantly, without knowledge, taken on the identity of a legal fiction known as person, which is a corporation and indeed a lie against nature, unnatural. The authorized 1611 states, Galatians 6:3, if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceive himself. The Holy Bible also tells us God is very angry with lawyers in numerous scriptures, beginning with woe unto ye lawyers, uploaded to SPL's Pro just to the day. See your new file selection in your grid view. You will find there are 221 files for your perusal. Because they have taken away the key of knowledge, what we are putting back now, and others are, they deceive us with words. For example, in your Black's Laws Dictionary, 5th edition, on page 652, the word hell is defined as thus. The name formerly given in England to a place under the Exchequer Chamber, that's your Chancery, all right, High Court Division, where the King's debtors were confined. There is nothing new under the sun. Man is still being tricked into being a debtor and surety for another, except the mischievous Satan, the devil, now gets everyone to volunteer and consent to be their own bonded slavery by way of counterfeit token of value. Being the short form wallet size Form 3 birth certificate, your God-given birthrights are given to you, and you may have squandered them in exchange for much fewer rights and less freedoms under man's curse of the law in the Old Testament. Did anybody put a gun to your head and tell you to give up your God-given birthright? On the contrary, your God-given birthrights are unalienable. You can neither give them up nor can they be taken away from man. Fact, standard. You are a beneficiary to God's promise, and you are a co-heir to the estate of Jesus Christ, as long as you are a Christian believer. If you do not trust God, you can take what is behind curtain number 2, because you have free will and you can choose and you can volunteer and consent to your own slavery. Not a problem. Now it's perfectly lawful. Voluntary slavery and servitude is grand. Forced servitude, there will be a problem there. If you take on any government issued identity, you become an invisible member of a secular pagan society, and you have a common share in a democracy where you share equally in all of the sins of the rest of that societal membership. A demonocracy, democracy, demonocracy, democracy. In such a heathen, secular, pagan, ignorant society, it is acceptable to participate in murder, war, abortion, etc., lie, steal, covert, idolatry, engagement, military, in same-sex marriage and intercourse. In short, to break all of God's 10 commandments, because you would not love God and you would not love your fellow man as you love yourself. I'm sorry about that. It's just how it's written. It's down to change. We are currently live and direct, recodifying and interpreting it as we speak. In Satan, the devil's world, there is no, and you're free to do it and send it me at david@splspro.com. In Satan, the devil's world, there is no free parking, as you are finding out. Is it any wonder then that when you give up your unalienable God-given birthright in return for a far inferior man-made lesser right and lesser freedom and duties, taxes and privileges granted rights, that you made the same mistake as Esau when he gave up his God-given birthright to Jacob in return for a measly meal? At the same time as the short form wallet size Form 3 birth certificate extract from the long Form 2 statement of live birth produced by the state also issues a notice of birth registration to show that it owns the newly created product, or fictio, Fictio, legal fiction known as the all caps ambiguous name, shown on the short form wallet sized birth certificate, Form 3. Thus, the Christian name, the Christian child, named Mark, from the family meaning slave in Latin, from the family of Smith, is blasphemously given to the false and ambiguous anti-Christian name, Smith, Mark. This is a blasphemy and treason against God, punishable under the common laws of the lands. To be clear, the name on the birth certificate is a legal fiction. That has nothing to do with you and I. As is, we are alive, kicking and well. We have a soul, a spirit and a conscience. Done. Alive. You want to test it? I'll show you my ass. You know, fiction can't show you his ass. Matthew Sheffield, that did make me laugh. Sorry if that offended you. I will not use the word ass again. Oh wow, the things. To be clear, that is that. The birth certificate name is a persona, a puppet or a mask through which we ignorantly act. The whole world is a stage and project your energy, re-energizing that profile, logging on, whichever it is, signing it and giving it a voice, your voice. But it is not you. Is it any wonder that because you are deceived, you've deceived yourself, I've deceived myself, we are deceived, we the deceived, lest ye not be deceived. Hello. Oh wow, but it is not you. Is any wonder because we are deceived and to self-elected to be an assumptive trustee, assumed trustee, I've mentioned that before, assumptive trustee instead of a beneficiary, and to become a bonded surety for another, a legal fiction. And you, man, volunteering every day, hundreds every day, every hour. This is really just grinds my gears, hence this video and getting it out there for conjecture and plausible deniability. Goodbye. See you later, mate. Goodbye. You find all the details at splspro.com. Source, reference, citations, biblical, prophecies, books, chapters, verses, publications, the full works. It's like a big breakfast. But vegetarians are included. Every nation, every colour, every skin, every language. We're having it and it's going down. Okay? What go on in Babylon? What go on? Indeed. So, surname that you... I get carried away, don't I? So you agreed a beneficiary and to become a bonded surety for another, a legal fiction, and man has volunteered and consented to the use of the ambiguous name containing the anti-Christian, heathen, secular, pagan surname that you are denied your God-given birthright. The Holy Bible says that it is you become surety for another, you will surely smart, hurt, taking the Father's name in vain, property, okay? Because the state-owned name, title, pardon me, does not belong to you. The government charges you all kinds of rent, all right, tenants and rent and tenants and what Andy's words were, yes, for the use of the secular name. Examples, fees, taxes, licenses, duty, custom, charge, permit. And if you break one of the corporate government rules, you are summoned into a court where you are once again charged for claiming a pagan name that does not belong to you. Are you something because you are deceived? Galatians 6:3. Do not use birth certificate for identification, and the reason for this, that the birth certificate has nothing to do with the flesh and blood Christian spiritual child. Child of God, man of the realm, child of Creator. However, most people mistakenly go on to use the counterfeit token of value short form wallet sized Form 3 birth certificate as a foundation identity document, when it was never, ever, ever at all meant for that purpose. A bit like the Treasury Direct account routing and TDA was never anything to do with secured party creditor, ever, at all. Nothing from what I can see and find. It appears that some people do not have eyes to see or ears to hear, and they want to misdirect you, lead you down the path, take your money, steal your souls, and they don't have any qualms about that. Well, I and the others and the family here at this channel and on the .com and to some extent a slither of Facebook, we think differently. Our belief system, as you can see, is quite strong and it's building each and every day. It appears that the ears and eyes are closed and we have nobody to blame but man. You know, thinking that there's an external force going to come out from the heavens and save us from a problem of which is our own doing and demise, headed at the top by the devil and Satan himself, then hello, Jim Carrey. Remember, sorry about that, I do apologise. I'm going to be cursed. I will answer for that later. I know, sorry. There we go. It appears that some people, ears and eyes, once you discover this error fraud, the government has no problem admitting that the certificate could be counterfeit error. First, the Deputy Registrar from the Office of the Registrar General states that the register's information about events Remember, people are not registered. An event is registered. Jesus Christ was an event. Come on. And we get in there. We're in turbo. We got the NOS going on. Jet stream. Come on. I'm not even looking at the comments, and I can feel the vibe, so I'll carry on. States the registers information about events, the creation of a legal fiction and the registration of the fictions, births, marriages and deaths, and the general does not register people. Okay, then the provinces and the registrars and the generals and so forth calls the birth certificate a token of value. All right, there we go, TOV. And the Dictionary of Law, various ones, this one that's written in this publication has used Thomas Carswell 3rd edition, which will be Canadian, I suspect, defines this as a counterfeit token of value. The government cannot deny the truth. But under the colour of law, and I get to know what the colour of law is, it is perfectly legal, not lawful. That's where we're at, all right? Legal and lawful, there's a line. Let's breathe a minute. Let's breathe. For the government to lie to people who deceive themselves into believing that they are the legal fiction. Notice also that whatever was done by our parents or the state government was done without our knowledge and without our consent. Further, take notice that the SOLB and the BC do not have your picture, your foot or fingerprints. No biological proof of you and I anywhere, and your autograph or signature is not found anywhere on these documents, because we were born an innocent child of God. And in law, a child cannot be harmed. Boom. Just take that in. Let's just let that wash over you. The only signatures that can be found on any government documents are the official signatures of government, of I shalls or deputies. I am not an official signatory, and I was never deputised. You know, I'm not in Admiralty either. Therefore, whatever I thought of my autograph or my signature is a fallacy, and yours too. And the truth is that our autograph or signature is completely worthless and useless to us. We cannot have our signature certified for full faith and credit by any government services. All of the things that were done to your detriment later in your life were things that you and I applied for, or registered, or signed voluntary, albeit deceptively, and because the demographic do that, you know, but here we go. Just because the whole will do it doesn't mean that it's right, and just because we don't want to do it doesn't mean that we're wrong. So just because of that, all right, all the things that were done to your detriment later in life, we applied for and consent, we're only ones to blame for it, allegedly. When you are old enough to have the right to make a legal decision for yourself, self-elected, assumptive trustee position for the legal name on the birth certificate, did you realise that you had joined a club, the pagan divided club of Rome? Or indeed had become a member of something that you would never have joined if there was indeed transparency and full disclosure, all right, Crown of London, of all the terms and conditions and the liabilities associated with membership, of the citizenship, of the receivership, QE2, Elizabeth, going out to you, the royal family, all of you there. This really gets my go. And transparency and full disclosure of all the terms and conditions and the liabilities associated with membership, along with the full explanation of what you were giving up as becoming a voluntary bonded surety enslaved by your own consent, because you and I have been ignorant, lacked knowledge, indoctrinated, unwittingly, unlawfully becoming surety for a debt that was never ever ours. My sons were born on that land, and people know geographically as Anglo, but I was born in a geographic area of hang on, I can't do it for me. I want to do it for the writer. My three sons were born on the land that people know geographically as Canada, but I was born in a geographic area of Europe now known as Croatia. Wow, this is a small land. I'm going to visit Croatia in a couple of weeks. Would you not believe it when I take Anne-Marie to Hungary? possibly going to visit Croatia. And I've got this man's name as well. I might actually see if I can find him and link up with him and go live and say, that what I read out to you from 2012. I found the man's name. That would be amazing. Anyway, he was in Croatia, formerly known as the Republic of Yugoslavia. I have visited Zagreb back in the day with my grandma. And his parents brought him to the land known as Canada just before his 7th birthday. He had no idea that he became a naturalised Canadian citizen because he was and still am an innocent child of God. And I'm not a legal fiction of law as created by man. It was not until he was 45 years old in 2007 that he discovered the world is really strange and he was just an actor. He was not given a script. Alright, until 2007 he had no idea. What he thought was a de jure by right according to law, government ruling under the premise that might is right, no it isn't. Is that why I have no arms but the police have guns, bats, tasers, pepper spray and bulletproof vests? It is called police force, is it not? Why must they force me? That too is alright because God ordains the secular world system and structure to be what is in order to control the mob and to control evil as much as is humanly possible. Vati can, Vati father, can, Spanish dog, father dog, dog father, God, godfather, dog, the mob, okay? That's what he's referencing there. Bulletproof vests. That too is alright because God ordains a secular world system and structure to be what is in order to control the mob and control evil as much as it is humanly possible until our true King and Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ returns to rule over us and to show us how to do things the right way. Therefore I am who I am. I was not born in the legal fiction not-for-profit corporation known as the UK government, Croatia, Italy, anywhere, or the United anything, and I am not the legal fiction name shown on that birth certificate because that thing is a man-made legal fiction of codified law, secular, so that man's government corporate fictions could have jurisdiction over and communicate with their own creations. Fictions can only speak to other fictions and they use people to act for the fiction. We have an acting Governor General for the de facto dummy not-for-profit corporation of United Kingdom government and Receiver General for the corporate bankruptcy, acting Prime Minister, as well as a slew of other acting government officials. All of these actors for the legal fictions have nothing to do with I and you. Okay, they are only acting with jurisdiction over their own creations, the legal fiction, all caps, corporate fiction of law containing the anti-Christian surname with a legal name, legal title, legal address, legal post, residence, etc. I live in my body. That's where we're at, okay? Do you still believe that the curse of the law of the Old Testament is a wonderful thing? Because they cannot prove their tribal identity since all records were burned along with their temple in 586 BC. And because they deny Jesus the Christ to be the Messiah, Lord and Saviour for all men, and they falsely accused him and killed innocent Son of God, most Jews today are false Jews. Work from the document. I'm not making a claim. This is not this channel's views, alright? This is just where we're at currently. Subject to change. Don't want no anti-Semitic kickback coming on me. That's all I need right now. And because they denied false. Unfortunately, with the help of Satan, the devil, it appears that the whole world lies under the power of evil and the heathen, pagan, secular world is being run by the 6,000-year-old Talmudic anti-Bible. Now, look at car and bar. I'm going away from this. Pause. Cart and bar. Does anybody know what cat and bat is? If we was to say it like Sheffield, but cart and bar. All right. We've mentioned Talmud there. They have the Torah, Torah. Is it A-H? T-O-R-H? T-O-R-A-H. Yeah. And they have the Talmud. Look at both of them. Look at the .com. We're not going to put the Talmud on there ever. I don't think it could stomach it. But we'll get the Kabal on there as well, Kabbat and Torah and Talmud, and also coming from there is the menorah, the 7 candle, where we do the gematria code. We put the letters on, A to G, and then G to M, and then N going that way to whatever. Good Lord. So tetragrammaton and these things here, and that what it says. There is a continuum of which we will continue to bring forward and dust off and bring back to forefront. So with the ka and the ba, the kabah, all right, then you've got God, which is L. So you've got here a cabal, a ka, a k, a ka. It's so annoying how you want to say it, but how it should be said. The ka and the ba are 2 different things you need to look at with regards to spirit, heart, energy. What I said at the beginning. Now there is a thread. It's a massive one. I'm doing well, if I do say so myself. Kabar and L. Kabar L. Now you've got cabal, haven't you? You've got the tree, you've got the patterns, you've got the numbers, you've got pi, you've got phi, you've got, this is the evidence of God. When we say, no, how do you know? How do you know there must be? There's a creator, because the numbers tell me so. The mathematics, not me, everybody. The mathematics, the synchronicity, and the way that it is, the way that the things work in space. I can't talk to you about measurements of, but it's just incredible. So we've done the digging to save you doing all of that, so you can just do middle to top now. You've got to turn the top grass, whereas we've dug and we've turned it 4 miles down and brought it back up. Now we want you to turn the top to see if we've missed anything. That's, so be grateful you haven't had to go 4 miles down and dig with a little wooden stick, turning it over, if that could be hypothetically possible. So with that said about the 6,000-year-old Talmudic anti-Bible, however, thanks to God's mercy and grace, this will come to an end soon, and God, good, will win, while Satan, the evil, will lose. Meanwhile, we get to choose which side we are on, and I hope that we, the royal we, all of the fam, in all of the realm, choose wisely, because God warns us in the last chapter of the Holy Bible, in Revelation, as I keep telling you, as it is said, it's not my Bible, but I am making sure that we pinpoint certain bits to get you on that curve and to get the ones that need that little bit of here for you. If you'd like to copy this and show this video to your local parish priest, reverend, chaplain, or anything like that, and ask them to come back and comment on this, I don't think they'd be able to. It would expose a great deal of holier than holy issues. So with the Bible, we need to recode and rewrite it a final time. The legacy, the prophecy, the golden age is coming 2025. We've got 6 years, plenty of time. It's not the end yet. I believe there is time to settle, to exit. Probation hasn't closed. All right, Ohana, no one's getting left behind. Last little massive bit, and then I promise you it's going to be bite size, chunk size, and you're going to be there in no time. All right, so if we can focus the next 6 years on getting to that 2020 clarity vision of the age of Aquarius, I will be a very happy man. You will all be, I guarantee it, without even a second thought, 1 million times better, given to the logical progression of this. And if you're wondering about God, that's what I'm saying. The numbers, this is empty. There's now here. It's just vibrating on a right ascension meridian. These things that you need to know, how it is, Big Bang, and all of that is down to your choice and your opinion. But when we can prove the existence of God, that's when alarm bells. Remember the cartoon, Roger Rabbit, and all of the, or any animation, when they trap themselves and their eyes come out and the thick steam comes out their ears. At the moment, I will say for 90% of you that some of these bits and passages and chapters and comparisons start hitting home. Those are the moments that you're going to be having, and I'm going to be hopefully getting a few good comments about this. And again, it's not all my work. This is the current up-to-date Christian type remedy using law that we're going to look at, and it's come mostly from a man called Daniel many years ago. So thank you for bearing with me. I'll continue to try and wrap this up as calmly and concisely and accurately as I can. I really want to go on for 5 hours on this one, but I'm going to take Anne-Marie away tomorrow, and I had to get this out now because I need to say things. I have a certain job, and I get warnings and I get told, and numbers keep shouting at me, so I've been told to do this in an indirect way today. All my jobs are done, all paperwork's done, emails and updates will be finished off just later, and I'll be back online Sunday, forward till the 31st of August, and available via the .com and email only. Various videos as and when we do. Wow, very excited. It's so empowering. It's so finally, something that you can chew on. Something you can chew on. Meanwhile, we get to choose which side we are on, and I hope that you choose wisely, because God warns us in the last chapter of the Holy Bible in Revelation. And remember, I've brought you the pre-Assyrian meanings and partake, and the video with the civil thumb title, the black thumbnail, partake in civil pagan. Please check that out as well. But contrary to what we think, the revelation to come out of her, if we do not want to partake in her plagues or participate in her plagues. Contrary to the birth certificate, ambiguous and blasphemous name for the legal fiction, name belonging to the secular pagan government, we have nothing to do with, or its unholy alliance to any pagan secular surname, heraldry, arms, or coat of arms. All right, coat of arms. I am not Jeremita David, and I am not David Jeremita with the all caps spelling, nor any derivative thereof. I am not a legal fiction, and its name is not my name. I am an innocent Christian child of God. I am what I am. I am simply the Christian man whose parents gave the God-given Christian name of, mine, and of which I anglicised and used the Christian name David, as proved by the attached, and I'll put some files on that, and we've left that bit open, being the statement of live birth, for one, from the former, issuing authority at landmass, and he's put the attached English translation for the naturalised Canadian citizen legal fiction pagan name. Take notice that nowhere on any of the government created identity state live birth there was a picture of me or my autograph or signature or any biometric identification of me. That's a good word. The innocent Christian child of God. These government documents were the result of something created by the government and my parents, mum and dad. I could not possibly be held accountable because you're not a volunteer as a child, but you are a volunteer as an adult, which is why the maxim of equity says equity will not aid the volunteer. And I've had hundreds of emails about how equity will not aid the volunteer. I've never answered it properly. I have to wait sometimes to give out information so we can all go at the same time. If we're educating and purporting new ideologies, new languages, new instruments, new translations, new words, new everything, not just new words. So forgive us while we try to bring all the family together at the same time rather than running ahead. We know roughly 6 months in advance what we're going to be doing, but it's having the time and the resources to get it out and bring everybody up with us at the same time. So volunteer and equity and maxims, you are volunteered by your mum and dad as a child, nothing to do with you, all right? So you can't be held accountable. That word is key and needs to be used as that word for anything done to you as a child. Remember what I said earlier on in this video about child and damages, and the Lord does not allow a child to be harmed, even though in modern times and our years of age, we are only an innocent Christian child of God. Additionally, it says here the Physician's Handbook of Birth and Death Registration from the US Department of Commerce, Bureau of the Census 1939, for the brothers and sisters across the pond. Ready again? The Physician's Handbook of Birth and Death Registration, U.S. Department of Commerce, Bureau of the Census, 1939, states on page 5 that the publication of vital statistic reports and tabulations does not divulge the identity of individuals. Remember, you and I Most of us had volunteered and consented to use the wrong name when we was 18 or legal age, and you and I have nobody to blame, unfortunately, as I see it, as we see it right now, but ourselves. I've tried to blame. I can't blame. We cannot push it to nowhere. No, it's all this deniability. So we have to go down this route, and we have to go. I've said it in a couple of years ago. It is our doing to some extent. It is not right. It is not correct. I don't condone all of the death and the lost lives and the pestilence and misery. It breaks my heart. It breaks Andy's heart. Older hay, embarrassing, joke, waste of time, heartbreaking. The nation, the world wept and got angry. So stuff like this, back then, that is not happening again. I'm not going to get a fist and punch the wall, but that will never happen again, because stuff like this is cemented, not just on YouTube and in the timeline, because it's so important. The whole world needs this, but it's presented and archived on an unregistered.com, which is private and protected in a trust called splspro.com. That's what I was born to do. I thought it was DJ and numbers. Turns out this is, this is the way for those that have eyes and ears, is all I'll say. So we've consented to use the wrong name, and you and I have nobody to blame, it appears, but ourselves. This is the real journey of the prodigal son, and once you and I realise the error of our ways and stop blaming everybody else, we can choose to return back to the tree as a branch, not a high street branch, and back to our Father, the Creator God, as the repentant prodigal son. Okay, do not get angry when you discover the truth, like I have and I continue to do now and again, that throughout our lifetimes you ignorantly added to your own problems because you did not have the knowledge, all right, the education of the error, fraud, and we voluntarily claimed and consented, I'm in with this too, to something that did not belong to us, that being the ambiguous, heathen, secular, pagan name containing the anti-Christian surname on the counterfeit token known as a short form wallet size form 3 birth certificates. The people that do not have the ears and eyes to hear and see, they will vehemently and ignorantly argue against this truth until their death and demise, and their estates and assets at the same time. Despite the government's warning, do not use the birth certificate for identification. You most likely mistakenly and fraudulently use the birth certificate, the counterfeit birth certificate, as a foundation identity document, such as the social insurance number, national insurance number, port pass, passport, driver's license, health, national insurance, NHS, healthcare, Obamacare, whatever, because of the carrot of measly government benefits in return for your treason against God. During your lifetime, you accumulated many counterfeit government identity documents to your arsenal and of counterfeit documents that do not belong to you. And the government rightly tells you that these government identity documents are the property of the government and are not yours. Is it any wonder that when you cannot own anything, that one cannot own anything? Is it any wonder why the government has called its own legal fiction citizens the enemy of the state? Are we still at war? I'm not happy about this. This is a joke, to be fair, but we're not going to get angry. This is why we're doing this. So when you get angry, just have a look at our Dave and can have a laugh and a crack and see what the scribes are saying. So is it any wonder then that the government provides us with counterfeit legal tender that is not backed by anything, because it is not real money and not worth anything? Debt notes, promissory notes. You did know that your money is not backed by gold, silver jelly beans or anything else. Didn't you? Since it appears that all nations of the world went bankrupt and into the ship of receivership in 1933, and since that time all people have had it. Since that time, all that people have had is debt, not money. It has been impossible to pay for anything, and therefore we do not owe anything. How can you pay for a debt with a debt? How can you buy anything with a debt? There's no real money since 1933, and all we have been doing is exchanging debt. That's why we governments have official for the bankruptcy, and the title for the bankruptcy official is the Receiver General. Have you not noticed that what you believe to be your government does not and cannot even print its own money? Instead, our de facto, unlawful, illegitimate, usurped government under the doctrine of might is right, force of law, simply makes its legal fictions the surety for all of its debt and exchanges this pledge as security for its in-debt, in return for funny money, fiat, counterfeit, monopoly, legal tender, monopoly, debt notes from the private corporation called the Bank of England, or across the pond, the Federal Reserve for the United States. Numerous books have been written about this fact and nothing is being hidden, nothing. However, you should now understand that the legal fiction has nothing to do with man, you, I, and public notice to all in front of the Creator, Francis, Papal, CC's, everybody. We are learning and bringing them with us. We're coming. Me and the men, we're coming. Don't worry, the clock's still ticking. We've got time. That's still beating. We're up there. Come on now. The power, as Paddy says, is in your hands. Take it. You want it? You want it? You want the power? You want it? Come on. Sorry. Secular pagan blasphemous name containing the anti-Christian surname. But there is the matter of a lifetime of imprinting of the error, the fraud and the lie we have all been living. Unfortunately, I know how difficult it is for man and us, you and I, to realise that we've been doing everything wrong. We don't know what we're doing, we don't know everything, and we need to readdress it. It's not embarrassing, it doesn't make us idiots. It's a big old game. Anybody that says, oh, I feel silly, I feel silly, all right? I am silly. We're idiots in some respects. Our mum and dad didn't know, and there needs to be a line drawn. 2019, by the end of this year, the misery is over. This is what I'm saying. When we say the misery is over, we're kicking arse for the Lord. When you come with the big man and the angels and etc. against the devil in this realm, you will not lose. You know yourself is 50%. The other 50% is this. And your colour pens. I know how difficult it is because of your ego to acknowledge that you do not own anything, and I know how difficult it is for us, you, to admit you've been working for nothing, volunteering, all right? So it is your choice whether you will continue to live the lie under the curse of the colour of law and toiling for the rest of your physical life for nothing or not. You really do have nothing to lose by stopping your participation in the false military offer and the fraud, because you never could, and you do not own anything anyway. And you are probably asking yourself, but how will I live, David? The answer to that question depends on whether you are a true Christian and if you have faith, and if you have true faith in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Saviour and your King, and whether you have faith in God's promise and trust. Is it any wonder why the government had to give you a SIN or national insurance number, TIN, tax identification number, to ensure your legal fiction name in case you never discovered your own sin? The SIN number identifies all of the government's property and tracks how much you stole from Jesus and God's treasury because you wanted to be your own bloody God. Is it any wonder that you had to pay tax and file out tax returns to bring everything back to zero? You never had any real money because all you ever did was exchange your labour for a worthless debt note or legal tender. This is why you could never own anything, because you never had any real money with which to buy anything or pay for anything. That is why the government at its pleasure lets you think you own something when in reality we own nothing. We're all made of empty atoms. They're made of light, fractional light, refraction. So the government allows for notaries to certify facts to become public notary, and you have a notary public. There are two, all right? Well, unfortunately for the pirates, the government allows the devil's advocates, known as lawyers, to deceive the pirates who are doing everything wrong. You only see and use lawyers when you are doing something wrong in the secular pagan world. You are given various licenses to do something that would otherwise be unlawful without a license. So we ask ourselves, why would man want a license to do something unlawful in the first place? The above knowledge explains many things. For example, if you carried a fictional legal name, legal title owned by your state, you are classified as an enemy of the state. Now I'm hearing gemstone, but I'm going to be rather more kind with it. I'm going to be rather more upper king standing with it there, because you're claiming to own something. You know, the name and the noun which does not belong to you, you are only allowed to rent the name in exchange for taxes, fees, licenses, lay, trade, levy, forfeitures, etc. Since the state is the true owner of your legal name, legal title, it can tell you what to do and how and when to do it. The state can come in, it thinks, and take what you think is your property at any time if you break their rules, and that includes the power to take away man's children, blood, you know, because the state has legal title to them as well. In a democracy, you share equally in everything with the rest of democracy, and you have no individuality, unlike equity and trust, which is designed for the individual. That means that you have a common share in everything. So every time a crime or travesty is committed by anyone in the democratic society, you share equally in the crime or travesty. In order to run a democracy, a capitalistic democracy, the artificial entity, not-for-profit corporation, person known as government, at its convenience and at its pleasure, allows the people who believe that they are legal fictions to think they own things and to think they can do as they please, get in the car and travel. Oh, I'm free to travel up and down the landmass. No, you're not. You know, as long as they follow the rules, acts, codes, statutes, regulations, bylaws, legislation, etc. But the reality is that the legal fictions never ever have and have no real rights. That is why the legal fiction thinks that they own the land or the home, as referred to as the tenant, and the rent paid by the tenant is called the property tax. The property tax is a fee simple because you are simply paying for the right to rent the use of the legal name of the legal fiction that never belonged to man. That is why the legal fiction that thinks he owns or she owns the car has to have a license, insurance, registration, and they have to pay annual license fees for the plate, sticker and license. Do you truly own anything? No, you do not. For to own is to owe, O-W-E. O-W-N is to O-W-E. Think about it. If you, E-W-E, truly own anything, why would you need to apply for permission and anything? I love this word game. And why would you need to pay for anything after you bought it? The correct answer is that you only need the correct answer is you only rent the legal name, legal title, remember the split titles and so forth, and you only have an equitable interest in things because you never own something. That's key. That bit there is massive in itself, even though it's tiny. So again, the correct answer, in our opinion, my opinion, not advice, but the correct interpretation and information of the eroding of man's rights and assets is that you only rent the legal name, which is a legal title, and you only have an equitable interest in reality in things in the realm, because you can never really own anything, and that is registered to a name that belongs to the state. That is why, for example, you must ask the state for a building permit or a license to do something, since the right or the title does not belong to you in the first place because of the status, standing and capacity, which is why we've done the foundation, key competence, Sovereign Masters Guild for the Masters Guild. I might have to drop the Sovereign in light of recent research, but no problem. That's what we do. You know, we constantly chew and evolve. So that's why we've done that coursework and that foundation, key competence for the Masters. So you get that, so you know where you need to be. In order for the government to operate the democracy, they allow the people who act on behalf of the legal fiction, legal title or name to think that they are free and independent and in charge when they are not. The legal fictions are under the impression they are the beneficiaries, but they are not. In general, in this state, in fact, in Canada, they have about 35 million people who are acting assumptive trustees, all right? and are surety for their legal fictions without realising that they are only actors. The only thing that the legal fictions have correctly assumed is that they have voluntarily consented to be surety for a debt, because legal fictions have assumed debt. They must pay for it by paying taxes to the Receiver General for the bankruptcy, because they are living in a bankrupt country run by a de facto, yes, that means of facts, illegitimate, unlawful, usurped, government as ordained by everyone else's father, God, until Jesus Christ returns as our true King and Lord Saviour. In any country which is part of the Commonwealth, the reality is that everything is owned by Her Majesty QE2, Queen Elizabeth II, in right of the province, state, country. She had no right to take everything and to make merchandise, dice, rolling the dice, chant, all right, see, chant, dice. Merchandise is chant is chant, but it's chan instead of the T, and then dice, D-I-S-E, not D-I-C-E. Merchant dice. Of all the people, and her fate is written of in the authorised 1611 KJV. In the last chapter at Revelation, we are warned to come out of her, okay? Thank you, Santos, for initially bringing this to me. If we do not want to share in her plagues. Now the choice is up to man. Will you overcome your own ego, and thinking you've got it all locked down, when you're far from the truth, you're far from the path, you're far from the chord, the source code, everything. All right, I'm not trying to scare you. I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. I've forewarned my family this year. Christmas is off. No presents, no cards, no celebrating. Anybody out there wants me to do anything this Christmas, it's off. It is done. I've finished it. I will not be part of it anymore. It's not bar humbug. It's about redemption of soul. Santa Claustrum. All my days. So again, we don't need to cancel Christmases. Xmas, X, C, number 3, Greek alphabet, X, C, 3, Xmas. We can just actually remember what the dealio went down, what go on really, correct it, remove the pagan, dark, satanic rule from the Christian and Catholic churches, and get it right. So when we say it's all got to go, this shit's got to go, you see what's got to go? The lot has to go. It's not that we're going to build it, and like Babylon in some areas where they, it needs to go and be knocked down and start again from fresh, not making something that's corrupt a bit better. If it's corrupt forever. It's tainted, it's soiled, it's damaged, it's negative, it's finished. It cannot be built better. It's got to be took down, in my opinion, and a new total. All of these timelines and periods, you will see they have a limit. They have a period, and the civilization will crumble. And as I say, the 6 years, all right. And I'm already in front. I'm in that 6-year period, and we have done this. That's the manifestation of the jet stream, all right. So my tone, my ideology, my thinking, my manifestation, my electromagnetic interference with the thought potentiality, the numbers, the quantum, the vortex. I'm sorry, I feel a bit weird, but we're there and it's happened, all right? So, come on. Will you overcome your own ego and do the right thing? In summary, what you thought was your name was never your name, and it belongs to the state. What you thought was yours simply cannot be certified. What you thought was your name cannot be certified by the Ministry of Government Services, and your signature can only get you into trouble because you are volunteering and consulting to debt and slavery by being a surety for another. The short form, wallet-sized Form 3 birth certificate is counterfeit token of value that created a legal fiction in law, person or corporation and or lie. And it cannot be certified by either the provincial government, Ministry of Government Services, or the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. Only government officials or deputies have official or signing authority for the names that they created through the office of the Registrar General via the Vital Statistics Act, and they must correct any errors, as these errors are punishable under common law of the land. The only signature that can be certified on the long form Statement 2 of live birth is the signature of the registrar, Star, Reggie, Strar, S-T-R-A-R. S-T-R-A-R would be S-T-A-R. Sorry, my good family would be Star. General or the Deputy Register General. For the Minister of Citizenship, Immigration and Multiculturalism. The remedy, the discovery of the surname, error, fraud and notification to the Registrar General and correction of this blasphemous surname error would be maybe potentially the remedy for the Christian named child amongst other offices and movements that need to be done. Paperwork preceding you, stand by over the next 2 weeks. I will steps to becoming private, civilly dead and protected under God will be looked at in the next 14 days. Surname error is the remedy for the Christian named child. As my parents, under the grace of God, gave me a Christian name, and Jesus purchased me, and I am a believer, and I accept the blood of Jesus, which he shed as the Son of Man. I am co-heir to the estate of Jesus. I'll even go one forward more in the court and say I'm the bondsman of Christ. It is written in the authorized 1611 King James Holy Bible, John 3:16. For God so loved the work that he gave his only begotten Son. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Remember, once again, that in law a child could never be harmed. Also, fraud is not fraud until you discover it, unfortunately. But when the innocent Christian child discovers the error and fraud, as you are doing today on this video, and informs the generals, then only then can the error start to be corrected by the general, as is their duty under such things, but not only Vital Statistics Act. Therefore, the remedy to the problem is realising the error and fraud and informing the general registrars and so forth, all of the army, so that they can correct the errors and frauds. And the government and any of the ignorant agents will no longer have plausible deniability once you inform them of the error and the fraud and demand that they correct the errors on the Form 2 Statement of Live Birth and the Form 3 Birth Certificate as required by the Acts. The clerical errors on the Form 2 Statement of Birth, Live Birth, as well as on the Form 3 Birth Cert, being the anti-Christian surname, a false title and a false charge, are a blasphemy against God, punishable under the common law of the lands, and must be corrected by the government registrar general. Do not be surprised if your husband or wife, or your brother or sister, your mother, father, or your assets, or your friends think that you are crazy when you acquire this gnosis and knowledge of law and God and spirits, and accept this truth, and you try to share it with them. Now remember, fam, most people have had a lifetime of imprinting, brainwashing, cognitive dissonance, and they may not, generally do not, as you know, have the eyes and ears. People's egos will get in the way of their accepting the truth, because they would have to admit that they have done everything wrong so far in their life. They have worked for nothing, since they do not and cannot own anything. I'm sorry about that. Not my words, not my policy, not my doing. I'm the undoer, the protector and the de-enforcer. It's disgusting. Remember that government considers these people who believe that they are the legal fictions to be enemies of the state, all right? This information is considered a state secret. Wow, it was. And it may be that the government must step in and protect you from the mob, i.e. the general public, who are really private. Knowledge. You must overcome the assumption and presumption that your private, all caps birth certificate name never belonged to you and was never your true name anyway. In the English language, individual letters have a meaning, and the letter L stands for God. Words like tree mean trust, and what is public and what is public is free to all. We must remember that Satan, the devil, was already thrown out of God's will for trying to be like God and for rebelling with the other angels against God. Consider that when Adam and Eve took the L, God, out of the public, they took God out of the public, and they exposed their pubics. and they tried to hide their privates from God, private army. And when Adam and Eve took the wrong tree, trust, tree of life, tree of knowledge, come on, they took from a misplaced trust and became private. Satan, the devil, deceived them and did not promise them anything good or anything of value in return for making the wrong choice in trying to be like God. Again, how could the created be like the creator? Did you also make the wrong choice by trying to be your own God? And I did. I've made some wrong choices, YouTube. It's that easy. And now I've corrected them and we're moving forward. We're stronger for it. Can you do the same? Big love to you if you can. It's just like walking away from a fight. It's harder to do, but it's the right thing. You know, when you get to that point, we are proud. Did you also make the wrong choice by trying to be your own God and by being private with your legal fiction, legal title, corporate, all caps name and its attached private social insurance number SIN, which in reality belongs to the government, Her Majesty in right of province, state, county. All corporations have a 9-digit number. What? I said a 9-digit number, just like the legal fiction. Person has a 9-digit SIN number. A corporation is a dead entity, fiction, and a fiction is a lie. Did you deceive yourself, as written in Galatians 6:3, by gaining the knowledge of the truth of your Christian name and your Christian identity, that you are without arms and heraldry and without a coat of arms? Without a coat of arms. You see, all those that wondered about the coat of arms, I did tell you it was battle. I did tell you it was a cry. I did tell you can find it in the Bible. And we talked about King John Hunnoy, and I spoke with Emma, Andy, John Hunnoy, Smithy, me, and Jason Waugh. We come to loggerheads. That video chat, never publicised, not recorded, and brought to you, but generally surmised. We came to a smash over war, flags, coats of arms, and the way that you go into it. All right, dragons, Pendragons. I said that to you. David Robinson said that to you. Not about coat of arms, but war and the way that you go and the aggression and the importance of it. The Constitution, the Magna Carta, pish pash, whiffle, nothing. This equity, trust. This is what we've so hard, to get out in the right order, to make sense. With the covenant, clean hands. It's not easy. We're at the end. We've come back to the beginning. Now do you see again? I'm going to a great length here, and in a time where I don't have much time to give you this, to put it out there, to show you where you may need to think about editing, revisiting, and doing what I'm doing, and looking if there's any errors anywhere. So 9-digit SIN number. A corporation is a dead entity. Fiction. A fiction is a lie. Did you receive yourselves a coat of arms? Because you as a Christian do not have a surname, you are disabled from participation in the secular world. That further explains why the government would have to protect you as a true Christian from all the false Christians or pagans. And the government would need to look after all of your necessities, provisions, all right, food, shelter, clothing, travel, building roads, because you would not be able to do anything in civil society without a pagan surname. If any of this information is not true, never mind. Page 9 of 20, and I've stopped there. That's posted on the .com, and I've stopped at page 9 of 20. I am halfway through my presentation. The next one topic is called Cracking the Legal Code of King James. So I can't do that. I've got to go. I didn't want to rush and babble on as fast as I normally do. Hope you appreciate my pausing and the slower down. I'm sorry that I stop and I splinter off, but I have to grab what was old, bring it to the new, live and direct. This is going to be printed and publicised alongside everything else that we do and redone. Daniel's words and the words of others that we've got here across these documents. I can't express enough love and enough thanks for what. Hey up, something there, super chat. Thank you very much love. This is why we do this, not just for the super chat, but for the love and the feedback and the kickback. That means you're happy. That means you've got something. That means you're buzzing. I can feel on my arms the vibration, the heart to heart. I do this all day long rather than going to a property in Birmingham and putting down my tools and scraping off wallpaper, spraying black mould, and doing that continuously, cleaning up the realm in an aspect of trade and other things that I do. We want to do it for the trust, so we'd like to sit here half of the week, half of the strong, and bring to you and support and go private cast in the .com and have private chats there. So I do hope that the totalitarian, I can say it, I was just playing about earlier, but I do struggle with words, I do trip over them, they're not our words. Totalitarian takeover, the tiptoe, all right, it's not good, it's not honourable, sneaking up behind people, sticking a knife in the back. You know, you got to show your weapons when you walk down, your regalia, your sword on show. If you have cloak and dagger and hidden weapons, you know, and someone being stabbed, officers that are getting stabbed and beat up, we don't tolerate this. I love what they do, because they are us. I don't love the fact they ignore law, but I love the fact they get up, they put a uniform on, and they go out and they try to do their best in a shit realm. I'm going to present with the trust, and any of you emissaries, advocates, diplomats, etc. We're going to present to the UKG once we sort ourselves out, our own estates, move to the private, do these notices, communicate with higher government. These I can't believe I'm going to say it, but the key competence, basic level that we're giving away for free will be given to them, and we will opt to go down and have a chat, and we will interface, and we will run some role play, and we will say that we love them. Anybody that harms an officer or that takes to an officer, whether that be spitting or violently oppressing or even taking, blood, life, whatever, we don't condone that. We want no harm to anybody in public UK government office. We don't want any malice. We want no harm to any man. I've just written and in the middle of, editing this. It's paramount. There's no more blood. There's no more anger unnecessary. And it's paramount that you take this and you share it, you transcribe it, you wait for the final version. And if you edit it and write it yourself, Nonna, I know that you like to type stuff and get out there and do whatever. I'm going to do this. And anybody, you can take that. It's not our work. It's a collation. It's a current, up-to-date edit. It's to do with violence and famine and starvation and souls and ethics and morality. The book is there. The reason that I've been confused and I couldn't make my mind up is because I got confused. 30,000 derivatives of Christianity, all of the religions there, and it looks like pagans into the church, superseded, as we've brought to you, and now we need to find a true way. We need to develop one. I'm not saying a religion, it's a faith, all right? We have this faith. Now, what if you are not a Christian and you want to get out, and you're saying that your book, your faith, your religion of present doesn't have this KJV? There's more to it. You see, I'll do a video too soon, next week, an evening time in Hungary. We've got a lot more. Adam, man, primarily the name of the human species, mankind, appropriately the first man, the progenitor of the human race. The word signifies form, shape, or suitable form, hence species. It is to evidently connected with Heb, Heb, to be like or equal, to form an image, to assimilate, whence the senses of likeness, image, form, shape, a body, like. See man, Webster's Dictionary, 1828. There's just pages of this to come. Employment, the act of employing or using. One, occupation. I don't classify my occupation now as such as old times. My occupation is to speak truth. That's my occupation. That's my only occupation. You see, so occupation, business, that which engages the head or hands, as agricultural employments, mechanical employments, men whose employment is to make support and amusement for others, are always despised. So we've got lots to go into with the code there. So with this is King James Bible, and those of you that don't have a King James Bible or that aren't subscribed to any Catholic, Christian, Christian, not Catholic, Christian religions, then we will speak and have a hangout later about how you would look at, because you have to look at the system what's bonded, the system what's usurped and enslaved, which is Catholic. There's a Christian remedy to the Catholic bonded. What if you're not a Christian? That's another video. Don't worry, there is a way out. It can be done, and all under God, but it's not straightforward. So I'll leave that with you, all right, knowing that nobody's getting left behind, nobody gets left out. We're all as important as each other. We're all equal. Well, I've got some feedback coming in the next few hours in the various emails about how somebody who is Islam faith, non-Christian is what we need to say, to encapsulate that. But there's a lot, Muhammad's becoming the most common name in the United Kingdom over John. So we need to recognise we have a demographic, darker skinned, multicultural race family over here, and you're all included. Get me to the mosque is what I'm saying. Let's have a chat again. Not to cause a fight, not to get me beat up, not because I think I'm better, but because we need to move forward. Christmas needs redoing. Christmas is bullshit. They're already putting the signs up for it now. They're already trying to get you to get into that commercial realm. You don't even know if you're gonna have any safety come after the Festival of Death. What we've got is Halloween coming up, as you know, October, Brexit, Day of Death, All Saints Day, Festival of Death, just before Christmas, Brexit. No way that this bumbling honey monster Boris and his United Kingdom, under what I've just brought to you there, they're not going to honourably do anything. They're going to do what they want to do, do what they're told, do what the time continuum of this lineage of families, and Satan at the helm there, we can prove it. They'll do what the devil says. And if you think they're going to do any goodness for any of you, your families, your assets, your enterprises, sorry about the folded arms, then you're mistaken in my opinion. And the quick thing for us to think about now is before October the 31st, we need to exit, I need to exit the United Kingdom and its bondage system, and I recognise that. I don't know if it's possible, August, September, October, with paperwork and offices to answer, 21 days. We will try, we'll get the wheels in motion. There is no chancery. The brakes are on. 528 quid saved, so that's good for you. It's good for me, it's good for the trust. It saves wasting time. That's as much as I'm going to say. And yeah, Bibles everywhere. Like I say, it's very relevant. I'm not here to test your faith. I'm here to bring you our work, our research, our discovery. You see why we need a break every now and again. You think we're not doing out and we're ignoring you. We are chunneling away. We are doing our best, all right, amongst defending the .com, looking at security, looking at accounts, checking everywhere, and sending items out, gifts for your kind donations. Once again, I can't express enough love, gratitude to you from I. If you think I'm something that I'm not, as opposed to Gary and that, what's been alleged, I will deal with that, and we will rinse out everything in the wash. Annual meeting, I'm looking for the first week in September. If you'd like, I and Andy, I'll volunteer Smithy, if you want I and Andy to turn up somewhere in the first week September, thereabouts. Hopefully, if we could, in a field on private land. If not, we'd like a venue, and we'd like to know if we can come and see you. I'm back on the 31st of August. I'm due to go back to Birmingham as soon as possible after that, start cleaning mould off. So to save me from Birmingham and the mould, or for me to go out and try and do some private trade until I can get this, what I've just brought to you, administered. I have 3 documents ready to do this, and documents to go to other departments, generals and ministers. If you want to run ahead and do it yourself and think you can get there, then so be it. It's your choice. All right, once again, no liability, no advice. This is a chat and an update, and I want to, in 2 weeks, have a lot more for you. And for my reward, I'd like somebody to please try and find us a venue for that September. And I know it's late, but I didn't think we was going to have one. I'd like to, come rain or shine, we'll put tents up, we'll get some lorries and trailers, campers, RVs, fires. You know what we did last time was thanks to Brother Thomas, Louis, I forget his wife's name now, but yeah, Lauren, and the rest of the gang there down in Oxford. So that's not available this year. I've already tried, so I failed. I'm now wishing that we'd got somewhere. So if you can help us out with that, that would be much loved. Knackered. That was like a full shift, if I'm honest. I speak too much. Say hello. I'll do. And then I'm going to see about some scran. My tiny eyes. I'm just going to say hello. Thank you again for the super chat. That doesn't happen often. That's beautiful. And thank you each. And I wasn't moaning. I'm just saying when it does, I forget what it is. I'm like, what? Message. I'm glad the cast stayed on. 2 hours and 9. 129 minutes. Yes, Clint, Michael, John. No, John, I haven't. I just know that 2025 Singularity Vision 2020. Quinn emailing SPO's nice one. Speak of DWN to talk to you. We live in. Yeah, we are. We're getting up. Time is here. It's away time, so we'll communicate via emails. Thank you, Quinn. I will respond and reply. We'll make plans. Yes, I love it when a plan comes together. Don't be like the skeleton on my tee there praying. We're going to go from that praying skeleton into strong men clothed with flesh, from the bone to the flesh. Agreed, John. Frank. Any jazz? Hello, new scribe. Bosh, thank you. Or a viewer that doesn't come on very often. Either way, thanks. Quinn and John, John and Quinn. Yes. Bond 001. Thank you, Quinn and John. Jones is in. Crap, missed this right up my street. Yes, Jonesy, much love to you. We got the rewind bow selector. You will need this. Thank you. It's up a lot of man streets. Thanks to Brother Smithy, most of all as well, and to the tube scribes because he. I'll be honest, I kind of ditched this Bible business. I thought pish, hence my Buddhism path. Religion to the bin, faith. It's been confusing. It really has. It's become words and etymology are my favourite. Numbers, words, science, etymology. That's my strong point there. Core, equity, trust. Yeah, we're getting there. But it's their crap. You see, our stuff, our words, our language. I love that. But Andy and his references. And he chooses the bits he wants to bring to you. Those are the alarm bells that made me ring. And then looking out the window, seeing what's happening on the news, the death and the blood, I didn't need any more reminding. So I hope it's up a lot of your streets. And if it's new to you and you just got into it, welcome to my world. Quinn, I'm just going to shout out. Thank you, Jonesy. John. I'll check out on holiday. I've given you 2 hours. I'm just skipping. Nikon P1000. What's that? Truth Nature. Another new scribe. Let's give the loves out for the new scribes. I've been on 3,300. Information and content and articulation and passion and love and all of this. 3,300 and something for so long. YouTube, I can't wait to leave. It's been a pleasure actually in the beginning, but the latter part, it's just been a nightmare. And I know they're only keeping the channel open to keep abreast of where we're at. And I know they're all over everything and they crawl the websites with the bots, so you can't hide. There is, license silence, caught that. Jesus, not well. Sorry to hear that, brother. Speedy recovery. John, Jesus, Quinn. Says there's 22 in the house. Okay, not many comments and conjecture, but I suppose we'll get that later. Brother Steve, bosh, easy. My man, Steve-O. Much love to you. You are a living legend, my man. Don't forget that. Keep strong. He's doing a good job up there. Resulting trustee, assumptive trustee. He's a good man. I trust you in my life, brother. It's been a pleasure. Pie man, easy. Quinn, Pieman, Jerry, Quinn, Pieman, Jerry, John, Quinn, Pieman, Jerry, John. How can you go? Wow. I can't. I'm sorry, lads, brothers, bro stars, sis stars. Where's the ladies at? Sausage Central. Bless you. Much love. Wow, I'm going to have to really review this. So I'm going to go through all my notifications whilst I'm away. I have got thousands, to be fair. I have to go back to see what I've missed, and I will be putting and linking. And yes, one man, many platforms, many jobs, many requirements, minimum liability, lots to do. I am more shocked and taken aback by my language, my statements, my research and discovery more than you are. I am confused a little bit. It's all up to press, cutting edge, you know, and sometimes I really wish I could just take that and flip it and, you know, flip it down, dang, and reverse it. Prefixes and that on. I got that. You love it, JJ. Bob Jerry. Don't mention the cricket. Super Leeds is in the house. Hello there. Not talking about that. Prime on Jerry. Can you hear our Queen talking to her mum? Doing the final arrangements. Ladies are working for... Oh, JJ, watch your potty mouth. Liked as always, Alegna. There she is. There's a lady. There's one of the sisters, one of the Omegas. Sandy, there's another one there, I think. Thanks for all your work to help us all learn the ways. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's done a post ever. Thank you to anybody who's ever given a shit, who's ever stopped by somebody less fortunate, homeless, fallen down, grandma, little, you know, son or daughter. I thank you for helping me. Without this, I don't know. This isn't really my place. It's not mine and Smithy's planning, and the others. Just you know, we fall into it. So I thank you for support, for everything you do, for putting up with my quarks, my you know, character. I am improving. I am trying. I am learning. I am grateful. I am loved. You are loved. And we are changing things, so there's a lot to go on. I'm sorry about the gravitas, and I haven't even finished, but thanks to everybody, each man. You know, I did a video for the fallen and the ones that have lost, and that we are learning from, taking from, reproducing. I refuse to leave you out. I refuse to just, you know, certain things that we should keep quiet, that we could make money from, that we could put into extra courses. You know, that could have been a course in itself and a publication and charged for. Others would do that. We're being watched, and I know it. We're interfacing with it. The numbers are speaking. We can prove we're clever, we're scientific, we're honourable, we're not criminals, and we are on course for a happy 2020. And by 2025, I'd like to think we'd have everything in place for a secure and stable future for the unborn lineage and our offspring, working towards declaring Jack Fresco, Matthew in Sheffield, this one too, declaring the world's resources man's common heritage, again by obtaining a non-sectarian universal remedy for all, of which we will give you by this correction a universal basic income, of which you will never have to want for again, never have any charges. You'll get all the relief you want. You'll be out of it. You'll be civilly dead. You'll be under God in the private, and it's for all the fam. All right, so you've got a God. You can do this. If you're not Christian, it's not a problem. It's not just for English, it's for all the world, as the Bible is. So yes, thank you again. Time to give love, respects. Sorry for my late replies on everywhere. I am doing my best. You see what we're doing. So if you can help us, please help. If you want to continue to criticise, pull us down, pick fault, be a trill, then carry on. We love you. You're part of the fam. You won't stop us. You don't take our energy. And those that are trying to put me in their minds and concentrate and put hexes and curses and negative energy, carry on. I've been told by the angels to tell you, carry on, because the crystals, the energy, the love, the light, the realm that we're in, we know, and they know. They know we know, and we know they know, and I know that you know. I'm not fond of asking. Bosh! Help me. Anne-Marie, incoming. Tube, goodbye. And hello. 2 weeks of European Craziness. I will be live showing you the odometer at 201,000 and several hundreds of miles. I will show you the MPG and everything like that, and the sat nav where it says 1,500 miles from Anna's house to Anna's mum's house in Hungary. And we're going to go over the ferry there to Dunkirk, from Dunkirk, Brussels, France, Belgium, France, Germany, Austria, Hungary, something like that. So 27 hours, 1,600 miles, about 2.5 tanks, 200,000 owners club. Yes, I'm in a breakdown cover. Checked all the wheels, checked all the brakes. MOT is mid-September. So I've had, I need to get in touch with Rog and get an engine oil change done. Next job. Ciao, Bello. See you soon. Thank you, scribes.